Hi, I'm Rach, the Keto Vegan. In today's episode, I show you how to make Coronation No-Chicken. You can watch this podcast on YouTube too. There's a link below. A couple of questions I have are, should I have used the Scotch bonnet chillis? And how much of a spring onion should we use? Do we chop the whole thing or just the white bit? Also, find out what I use instead of apricot jam. The ingredients I need for this Coronation No-Chicken are all in front of me here. What I have done is looked for a regular Coronation Chicken recipe and adapted it for the way that I want it, making sure it's vegan and keto. This time, funny that, isn't it? Look. This time I am using, this isn't chicken pieces. I'm going to also fry off an onion, lemon juice, and what I've added to this, so I like a bit of crunch in my food. I'm going to chop up some celery sticks, some green pepper. I'm going to cook it in sesame oil. It says a red chilli. I had Scotch bonnet chilies in the fridge. I think they could add a bit of a kick. It's going to be coriander, spring onion, some sweetener rather than the apricot jam. So apricot jam is what's usually used in a Coronation chicken. Then my trusty Hellmann's vegan mayonnaise. I'm going to use some crème fraiche from the Coconut Collaborative, or the carb counts are on the link underneath. Might use a stock cube depending how liquidy it is, and then some lovely spices. So I've got some medium tikka curry paste, some turmeric, some garam masala, coriander and cumin, and of course the juice and zest of a lemon and tomato puree. So add the red onion to the hot oil, fry it until it's soft. You can really smell that toasted sesame oil. I really love that. You can use any oil you want, your favourite. Always make it your favourite thing. Don't just make do. If you can afford it, get your favourite things. Food is so amazing and so lovely. And also with the onion, I use red onions. I don't know why. I think I prefer them to white. You can use whatever onions you want. Once the onion has softened a little bit, add the chopped chilli. I'm going to say, if you're touching it with your fingers, make sure you wash your fingers really well and don't rub your eyes because that would burn. Stir that in, mix that up. Okay, so now that's fried a bit, you get your spices and add those and cook those for a bit. So I'm going to do 2 heaped teaspoons of the tikka curry powder. I'm going to do half a teaspoon of turmeric, because that can make things quite dry, but it is incredibly good for you. Some garam masala, let's see how many I think. So 1 heaped teaspoon and another half. Some ground coriander. Can't fit a teaspoon in there, so I'm going to give it about a teaspoon's worth of shake. Teaspoon and a half. And last of all, I'm putting some cumin in as well. Now you can put whatever spices you want to. I love the flavours that come from all these things. So I'm just going to again do a shake of the cumin. Give that a good mix in. Let that cook. Turn the heat down a little bit, otherwise it will burn. Oh, they're getting in my throat. Let those cook a tiny little bit. You don't want it to burn. And then add some tomato puree, getting that going as well. And what I'm going to do, normally if it's regular Coronation chicken with the apricot jam, they would put the apricot jam in nearer the end. I'm going to put the sugar in now so it's got a chance to cook. So plenty of tomato puree in there. I'm going to put some more in. So I think that's 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. Stir that around, let that cook for a bit. So you then add your lemon juice. Stir that around. You see a really rich, lovely paste. And then I'm going to add the chicken pieces to get those starting to cook. These chicken pieces are frozen, so they will really need to cook well. And because that's still so dry, I'm going to add some Rachel stock, basically any white wine that I've got left over. That is only used for cooking, because wine is too high in carbs. But when you spread it out at this kind of distance, then the carb count gets much, much lower per portion. So you let that cook, and before you cover it so it can simmer, you add your sugar to get the sweetness. I am going to add 2 tablespoons of the Truvia for baking caster sugar. That's about 2.5. Get that mixing in. And you might want to add, they do say stock cube. I would add more wine if I had more wine, but I don't. So I'm actually going to chuck a stock cube in there and some boiling water, just a little bit. You do not want to make it too liquidy at this stage, because when you add your mayonnaise and crème fraiche, that gets pretty liquidy as well. And you just don't want it too runny. Well, it's up to you. What texture do you want it? I like it thicker. So a couple of vegetable vegan stock cubes in there. A couple of stock cubes I put straight in. I know that's not the way to do it, but I like to keep things easy. If you hadn't noticed already, let's make life simple. I am not a chef. I'm just Rach, doing my thing. So that hopefully will be enough liquid just to get it cooking. So I'm going to cover that. Let's get the sugar off the back of that. I'm going to cover it, let it simmer for 5 minutes, and then come back and check on it. Don't forget to turn the heat nice and low. Whilst your chicken is simmering, get your celery, your pepper, your spring onions, start preparing those. So I've prepared the veg. I've chopped up the celery is really pretty small, so I don't like too big chunks in my Coronation chicken. The green pepper, best one for carb count. And spring onions as well to go sort of sprinkle on the top. How far should you cut a spring onion up to? I don't know, so I've done quite a lot of it. So let's just check the chicken, or the no chicken, that this isn't chicken. I'm just going to take a little taste just to check that it is cooked. It's a really rich sauce, you can see that, so it's going to be lovely with loads of mayonnaise in it and the crème fraiche. What I might do is leave it with the lid off for a while to even sort of reduce down a little bit more. So just testing a tiny little bit of the chicken with the sauce to see if there's anything I need to change, add, or cook it even longer. Good God, that has got such a kick. That is really good. Doesn't need cooking any longer. I can just turn the heat off and leave it there. My hob is halogen thingy. What's it called? It's not induction. I wish it was. But it's going to take a long time for that plate to cool down, so it'll carry on cooking even though I've turned it off. Good God, that was good. If you like hot and spicy food, come and have some food with me. Once it's completely cooled down, I'm then going to add the vegetables, the crème fraiche, the mayonnaise, and then chop up some coriander and sprinkle that on the top. And then we're done. The Coronation Chicken main base has now cooled down. I'm going to add the celery and the pepper, as well as the spring onions. A lot of green veg in there. Give that a mix. We now add the Coconut Collaborative crème fraiche. That is 6 grams of carbs per 100. And I'm going to add a whole load of mayonnaise. But before I add the mayonnaise, I'm going to mix it through and check the flavour before adding more creamy stuff. When you're adding your mayonnaise, do it bit by bit to see how you want the texture and the consistency. So the mayonnaise has been mixed through. I'm just going to take a little taste to see how much of a kick it's still got. It's still got very much of a kick. What I'm going to do, rather than add more mayonnaise, I'm going to get some coconut cream and put a carton of that in there. This is my favourite coconut cream. The consistency is perfect. This is the Sainsbury's one. I prefer it than coconut creams from other supermarkets. So I've cut the top off that, give it a good old shake in. Sometimes it comes out all in one lump. And then so most of that has just slid out. The nice thing about coconut cream as well is if this is too runny, coconut cream, when it goes in the fridge, goes solid. That's not going to go solid because of all the other things that are in there, but it will make it less runny, which I prefer with the consistency of a Coronation chicken. That's all now mixed through. Let's just test the heat again. I really like that. It's got a nice little kick, not a massive kick, a little kick at the back of the throat. The consistency is nice, the flavour's good. So I'm just going to explain to you what the texture of the This Isn't Chicken is like. I can't remember what the texture of chicken is like, but I'm very fussy about my textures and about my flavours. The texture's good. It's quite soft, but it's not as soft as corn. I find corn far too soft. But this texture for Coronation chicken is perfect. Okay, now I've tested the consistency and the flavour, I'm going to add the coriander. I didn't want to add it too soon because I didn't want to overstir it because it's quite delicate leaves. So I'm going to put that in. Leave a few leaves for the top for decoration. Give that a lovely stir and mix in, but very gently. And here you have it, a lovely keto vegan Coronation chicken. Perfect with salad, maybe some coleslaw, might be too liquidy by then. Let me know what you think.